Hello everybody, welcome back to my Country Sparkles channel. I'm Rachel and today I'm going to be talking about preparedness, specifically 72-hour kits. Let's get started. Whenever I'm teaching a class about preparedness, one of the main questions I hear most regularly and first are, hey Rachel, I don't know where to start. There's just so much out there. There's so much information, there's so much stuff, there's so many different people trying to sell us things. It's just so overwhelming. And I tell them, it sure can be, especially once you start writing a whole bunch of lists of long things that you want to get and do, and then you're like, I don't know where to start. There's so much, because you can't just go get it all at once. So my favorite place to start is 72-hour kits. 72-hour kits, all that they are 3 days worth of survival. That's it, 3 days. The essentials of what you need to live for 3 days. This 72-hour kit that I'm going to show you today is one that is great to have on hand in your home if there's a disaster. If you can't get to the store or something for 3 days, then you have all the essentials that you need on hand in your home to survive. Or if you might need to leave your home in just a few minutes and go to a shelter or go to a friend's house or to an in-law's house or a parent's house, just temporarily, but you're going to come back to your home. This 72-hour kit is a great emergency kit to take with you. Your situation is going to be temporary and you're planning on coming back home. That is what 72-hour kits are for and what they're supposed to do. Now, most people on the internet, in real life, everywhere, mix up 72-hour kits with go bags, survival bags, and when crap hits the fan bags. Those bags are bags or kits that you prepare to leave your home, probably permanently, so something you want to live out of. Those bags are not what we're going to be talking about today. Today we are only focusing on 72-hour kits, which is 3 days of survival and what you need in those 3 days. Let's talk about what you need to live. There are 4 main things that you need to live. Obviously, I have more than 4 things here, but let's talk about those 4 main things. First of all, air. You can only live 3 minutes without air. Second thing, water. You can only live 3 days without water. Third thing, food. You can only live 3 weeks without food. And the last thing, fourth thing, is shelter. You can only live 3 hours without shelter depending on extreme circumstances, like extreme heat or extreme cold. Now, with those 4 things that you need to survive in mind, let's pack my 72-hour kit. So I'm going to have a bag here to gather all the little things, and there are some things that aren't going to fit into a bag, and that's okay. I'll tell you how to maneuver that when we get to that area. So first off, air. We all have a lovely mask because of COVID. Thank you very much. Masks aren't just useful for pandemics, keeping viruses at bay, and keeping your health intact from airborne diseases. It is also helpful for you to have a mask if there's a fire outside to help protect you from some smoke inhalation. It won't protect you 100%, but it's better than nothing. Also, if there's a dust storm or something, it'll protect you from dust and other particles flying in the air from getting into your lungs. So a mask is a perfect first thing to put into your 72-hour kit. But before I add my mask to my 72-hour kit, let's get my bag prepared. I like to line all my 72-hour kits or bags or anything like that are for emergency preparedness with a garbage bag. So I can put all this stuff inside of a garbage bag and it's protected from weather and storm all around, because do you want to get out and have like your toilet paper all mushy? No, that won't be any good. So get yourself a toilet bag, and it's just going to be used as a liner inside of my bag. This bag has multiple pockets, and that's why multiple things are also in ziplocks. But in this main back pouch, we're putting the bag. Yeah. Also think about how you want to pack your bag as you're doing this. So a mask, you might want more easily accessible because it might be one of the first things that you need. So I'm actually going to put this in the front pocket because if it gets wet, it'll air dry pretty fast. This is just Costco and it's 32-degree cool, and so it'll air dry pretty fast. So let's put that in the front pocket. Next, let's talk about water. People need 1 gallon of water a day, half of it for drinking, half of it for other things like adding to food or washing dishes, sanitary needs, flushing, stuff like that. So that's a lot of water. 1 gallon per day, and this is a 3-day kit, so you need 3 gallons of water per person per day. So let me show you about how much that is. This is just a cheap brand of water bottles. This is about 2 gallons of water. Not even 3, maybe a little bit more than 2, but not too much. So you need about 1.5 of these cases of water bottles per person per day. If you're stuck at home and you're not going anywhere, having a few cases of water on hand as part of your 72-hour kits is phenomenal. That one. Or if you can take your car and you can go to your friend's house or something like that and you need to stay there for a few days, or a shelter, taking along cases of water is perfect. It's just what you need. Having them on hand is perfect. Water will go bad eventually if it's stored. Even stored like this, like you want to rotate it out about every year. So keep that in mind, but having a case and a half per person is what you want on hand for your 72-hour kits. So let me show you, if for some reason you can't take water with you, I also have these 2 things in my 72-hour kits. So I have a water bottle that's just flat, fold down, it's super light, super lightweight. Then wherever we go, hoping there's water, we can fill it up. Like if there's a shelter or somebody's house, we have something where we can gather water to drink and do other stuff with. So I'll put that in my bag. And then also, this is a life straw. I got this off of Amazon. I'll open it up for you so I can show you what it looks like. What it does, it is a water purifier. All you do is you open this end, you stick that in the water, you open this end, you stick that in your mouth, water, you suck it through, and the water goes through this filter in here and it purifies the water, comes out, nice clean water for you to drink. So that is my next backup thing. And these are also great to have in case for any reason you run out of water, then you also have different things to fill up. So got those in my bag. Next, shelter. So it is a good idea to have a tent as shelter. And like 1 tent per family is fine. So I just put it with my water, set it to the side. You could stick it in a bag if you want. This is just a hiking tent. It's really small, compact. It's, I think, a 2-person tent, but like 2 adults. You could probably even throw a couple babies in there. 1 adult, 2 babies, whatever you need. Shelter is great. It's a great protection from sun, from rain, from snow, everything. Even in your house, if your electricity goes out and it's winter, you can set up a tent and all your family can sleep in there, and because of the small space, it will keep your body heat in there and it'll keep you warmer and protected from the outside element, even if you don't have heat in your home. So a tent is a great thing to have on hand. Also, I like to throw a tarp into my bag also. This is obviously optional, but it'll keep the bottom of your tent dry if you put it under your tent, or if you all don't fit in your tent, then somebody can sleep on top of a tarp and wrap that around them if they need protection from the elements. Or you can also make a tent out of a tarp by throwing it over a tree branch, like have some string, you throw it up. If you're gonna do that though, make sure you have string in your bag. So this is another alternative to shelter. If you want to choose one, go for it. If you have one, not the other, that's the one you put in your bag. So tarp, let's throw a tarp in here. This is not gonna get wet, so I'm gonna put it behind my bag, not in it. Since we're on the topic of shelters, let's talk about sleeping gear. So, got a couple things falling off here. So there's the obvious sleeping bag. Sleeping bag is nice, luxurious, stuck at home. If you throw things in the car, if you need to go somewhere temporarily, having a sleeping bag on hand is perfect item to have to keep you safe and warm and just comfortable. Very comfortable item. I'm not gonna put a sleeping bag in this 72-hour kit because I use it all summer long and I don't want it packed away, and I don't want to have to unpack it every time I want to go camping. So no sleeping bag for me. But what I am going to put in is a wool blanket. Now wool blankets are very warm. They keep you protected from the elements really well. They're not super holey, and they're perfect for a survival situation. I can fold in half. I'm going to put it in here. There you go. If for some reason you don't have a wool blanket or you can't find one at the time, a super cheap alternative is just an emergency blanket. Emergency blankets are really useful. They draw in heat, can make you warm. They reflect your own body heat inside to keep you warmer. They're a great ground cover if you need protection from that. Just a shield over your head from rain. This is a great essential to have in your bag. And with that, a candle. Also for warmth, you can put the emergency blanket over you and put the candle inside with you, and matches to light the candle. Light the candle, and that will generate more heat within your emergency blanket. Make sure you do that very cautiously because your clothes are probably flammable and you don't want to catch yourself on fire, or your children. Don't let them do that. That's very much like almost last resort, but a simple last resort option. And I have one more shelter bag. They have emergency sleeping bags, which is pretty much the same thing as the emergency blanket, but it's just sealed on 3 of the sides, so that way it's like a sleeping bag. So just a little bit bulkier than the other, but another option. I'm not going to put this one in my bag. I have my blanket and the emergency blanket, so I don't need it anymore. Next, let's talk about medicine. So if you have any personal medicine that you need to take with you, make sure you have that on hand. Maybe clip a list to the outside of your bag saying don't forget your meds, something like that, because I know keeping those inside your bag for multiple years at a time for long storage or something like that may not be possible. So I would clip something on the outside of your bag to remind you to grab them, along with any other little things that you might need. But medication is essential in a lot of situations. So besides personal prescription medicine, let's talk about what medicine I like to keep in my 72-hour bags. So having some kind of cold or flu medicine is great because if you're sick, the quicker you can get over something like that, the better. The next thing I like to have is Ibuprofen and Benadryl on hand. These two things can cover a lot. The ibuprofen, headaches, muscle aches, if you're injured or something like that, help to relieve pain. Benadryl, anything allergy related that could be stuffing you up or causing those issues, or bee stings, anything like that. Two great things to have on hand. So these are adult pills, and I also, because I have children, like to have the liquid children form in that too. Notice everything is in bags already. They're protected from the elements. I mostly have the children stuff in bags so they don't leak, because they leak. So put them in bags so they don't leak all over everything else. And I'm still putting these inside of my garbage bag, just because. Better safe than sorry. So next, let's talk about communication. When the power's out, maybe your phone's dead, maybe you don't know what's going on. Great thing to have is a radio. Have a radio on hand. This is a solar powered radio. This is Liberty Band Tactical Solar Radio. So that's the brand. You put it in the sun, it charges up. You can listen to different radio stations. There's a USB output for charging phones. That's pretty awesome. This has a flashlight, an earphone jack. It has a clock with an alarm function. This is definitely a multi-use radio clock. But when you don't know what's going on in the world, when you don't have TV or your phone or anything like that to follow, having some kind of communication to know what's going on is essential. I'll take it out of the box real fast, show you what it looks like instead of just in the box. Here it is. That's That's what it looks like. It even has a charger cord that can plug into an adapter. That's the solar panel on top. And I turned it on. So yeah, real easy to use. So easy, I did it by accident. Okay, so I'll keep that in the box just to protect it. Mostly from buttons being pushed. That, as I load it up. Okay, next, hygiene. Let's talk about hygiene. We all experienced during the pandemic lack of toilet paper. Put toilet paper in there. Put toilet paper in everybody's bag. Everybody needs toilet paper. Nobody wants to be caught without that because that's just uncomfortable. I'm actually going to put this in my front pocket because you're going to be needing toilet paper more often than you think. I'm a woman, so tampons are essential to me. You never know. Well, okay, if you track your cycle really closely, then you do know when that's going to hit, but I don't know. I don't track that closely. So, I have some tampons. You can also put a menstrual cup in there. And if you don't know what that is, I'll show you. And I'm actually not very experienced with menstrual cups. I just mostly got it for emergency preparedness. So I might take both. It's a cup. You fold it up. You stick it in. It suctions. It catches all the blood. Pretty easy peasy sounding. But those are two feminine hygiene things that you can pack, and that would be good to take along. Put those in there. Also, because I'm a woman and I have long hair, I need hair bands and a comb, otherwise my hair will be a ratted mess. That's more of like a want instead of a need, but it sure is handy in a lot of situations. Other things, soap. You want to, even if you're not showering or anything like that, you want to have soap to be able to wash your hands to keep bacteria and stuff away. You still don't want to get sick during any emergency situation. Unless I have a light washcloth in there also to help with washing things. Toothbrush and toothpaste, not essential. If these aren't in your bag, you won't die after 3 days not having toothbrush and toothpaste. So I would consider these more luxury items, but they sure do make you feel better if you haven't been able to shower, but you can brush your teeth. So they take up so little room. I consider them mental health essential, kind of. Friction stick. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these. I've actually just heard of it about a couple years ago, and they're pretty awesome. So if you're walking a whole bunch and you're not used to walking, and say your shoe starts to rub against your foot, all you do, if you feel it right there before you get a blister or anything, if you just feel it rubbing, you can take this, you can rub it on your ankle, put your shoe back on, and this will keep the friction at bay, so that way you don't get a blister on your foot. Also, getting a little personal here, for those of us with a little bit thicker of inner thighs, you can rub this on there and you won't get any chafing. So remember that. Lots of walking. This is pretty handy. Now let's go on to some personal things that you might want in your bag. So for starters, it's probably good to have a little bit of cash in your bag. I just have $10. Decide what you think you might need and keep that in small bills in your bag, probably kind of hidden away a little bit so they don't accidentally get lost in your bag. Phone and charger. Make sure you grab those. You might remember grab your phone, but not your charger. Your phone is useless if it's not charged. Mine's currently being used to see you guys. So put that in there. Phone and charger. Actually, putting this in my plastic bag. A way to charge your phone besides the cord. This is a solar panel charger. It has got USB ports right there, so you can plug lots of different things in it, and it just charges in the sun. It's pretty compact. That radio is also very handy in that you could charge your phone in that also, but having a portable little solar panel, perfect. This was off of Amazon also. Oh, here's a box for it. For Patriots. Patriot Power Cell is what it's called. So yeah, let's put that in here. And I would actually put this into a ziplock also. because it is electronic and I don't want it to get water damage. So after this video, I'll just get another freezer Ziploc, which is my favorite because it is most water resistant, and I will put this in there. I'll just keep this to the side for now. Next, a poncho. This might not seem so essential right now, but if you have to go outside and work for some reason and it's raining and yuck, it is always better to work dry than to work wet. So, essential. Putting it in that pocket. A multi-use tool. I have a couple different ones here. This one has a flashlight on it. This one is more one that I'd give my preteen. And then this one has different things. It has a little knifey on it. Or scissors. Ha! I know what it's called. It's scissors. And then it also has knives, little screwdrivers, flathead, a nail file. This one has got tweezers on it. So find a multi-use tool that works well for you and include that in your survival bag. My husband loves his Leatherman, so that's what he has in his bag. I'm just going to put this one in there, and this other one I'm keeping out. Next, let's do the headlamp. So a headlamp is great for if you need to work in the dark, if you're walking in the dark, if the power's out, you need a light, headlamp. If you have extra batteries with it, headlamp's great because it keeps your hands free. This is our ID information binder. It has got, not much I can show you in there. It's got passports. I've got a picture of every person in our family, which were pictures that are used for our passports, so they have a backup picture. I just kept that in here. I have our social security cards, deeds to our house, deeds to our cars, things that we own like that. This is kind of like our life in a binder. This has to go with us, mostly for like passports and ID, because you want to be able to identify people if you can. So let's put this back here. All that is protected in, I have sheet protectors on each one of those things also to protect any damage from happening. Next, let's go on to clothing. So in my 72-hour kit, all I'm gonna pack is a pair of extra like almost pajama pants, so that way I have something clean to change into at the end of the day, because it's not essential, but mental health, Rachel needs this. So pair of pants. So if I don't have any other clothes, if I have to leave my house with the clothes on my back and nothing else, and I have to put my shoes on and go, at least I have one clean thing that I can change into at the end of the day so I can sleep. My little guy's awake. Also, you want to make sure you have some sturdy shoes so you can hike, run, do whatever you need to. Sturdy shoes. A couple personal things that you aren't necessary but are definitely wants. Having a utensil on hand to eat your food with, which will be coming up next, is a nice thing. Not 100% necessary. You can use your fingers or other supplies. Or if you're in your home, stuck there at somebody else's house, then you might not need that. But in a shelter or something like that, they might not have utensils. So, just a thought. And then lastly, a very kind of frivolous thing, definitely not essential, but something we felt was essential for our children. We have a card game and a book in each bag. This card game is actually, so it's Ziggity, and it's got plastic cards, which are awesome, so that way they won't get dirty, they won't get wet. Okay, let's put that in my bag also. And now let's zip it up. My shoes, I'm not going to put in my bag because I use these. You can, if you have extra pair of sturdy shoes, keep them in your 72-hour bag, then you won't be without it. But me, I'm just going to remember to put on sturdy shoes as I'm leaving the house if I need to leave. Or if not, I have sturdy shoes at home, ready to go. So let's zip this up real fast. I have my little helper here. He woke up from his nap. so he will have comments on what to say and what I'm doing. Okay.
Mom, what I see?
Yep, that's my toddler. Okay, now my bag's all zipped up. First part's ready to go. In case you don't remember, I don't have something packed yet. And it is food. So, let's get this bag out of the way and let's talk about food next. Now for our last essential piece that we need for living. I wanted to save this for the very end and get everything else out of the way because there are many different ways that you can do food. So this bag right here contains a day's worth of food in it. One day, and it even has snacks in it. What it has is it has a ramen noodle, it has 2 packets of instant oatmeal, it has Pop-Tart, it also has some powdered milk because that is my toddler's favorite comfort food is milk. It's got some fruit roll-ups and it's got some candy canes in it from Christmas because they ain't never gonna go bad. Oh, and we have fruit snacks. So really all you need is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you want. Ramen, Pop-Tart, and oatmeal. That's really all you need. The snacks are for fun, for comfort. You can make your food packets, let's call them, any way you want. This is just one food packet for a day's worth of food. And if you're like, I can't survive off of a Pop-Tart for dinner, that's fine. Pack what you do need for dinner. I like to keep it in a Ziploc, then I know this bag is day 1 food. I don't eat anything out of my other bags. This is what I have to eat for the day. Once it's gone, it's gone. I'll give you another example. This one has got ramen, a different type of ramen noodle. It's also got granola bars in it. It's got some hot chocolate, homemade oatmeal, and that's what the meal is for the day. Now if something like this, I didn't put a third thing in it because I decided that we were gonna have like family meals. So for that, like dinner meals. So for that, I put in like a giant bag of freeze-dried food. This is my own personal freeze-dried food, but you can buy this from like Mountain House is a great source for freeze-dried food. They have lots of different yummy things, and these things are just add water. So these packets are like add water things. Oatmeal, you add water. Ramen, you add water. Freeze-dried food, you can add water. Any of it though, you can eat dry. It might not be the most pleasant thing to eat dry, but you can. If you need to, you can. And if you do, you definitely still need to drink extra water because that will still expand in your stomach and make you dehydrated. But just a thought for that. Let me give you another example of what you can pack. So you can pack canned food if you want. Canned food's just a little bit heavier. I like to go more with the lighter things, but canned food is just fine. If the cans have the pop tops, it's even better because then you don't need a can opener. If it doesn't have a pop top, make sure you have a can opener. Otherwise, you will be in a whole bunch of hurt if you can't open can. So you could have a can of peaches for breakfast. You can have a can of SpaghettiOs for lunch or dinner. You can have a can of tuna and some crackers for either lunch or dinner too. Or you can have peaches for lunch or dinner. Any of these can be mixed up however you want. But there is another day's worth of food if you want. Here's some other examples of things you can do. You can have individual size servings of hash browns. These are dehydrated. You need to add water. You can't even it's plain without water. It's like eating raw noodles. Very hard and kind of unpleasant. Oatmeal, instant oatmeal is one of my favorite things. If you want to make like a breakfast and lunch for each person in your family and then do like a family dinner meal, you can pack a can of spaghetti sauce and of noodles, and that will feed my family of 4 plus leftovers. There will be leftovers of this for sure. if you choose food that needs to be cooked for your 72-hour kit, it would be wise to also have some kind of way to cook it. A lot of things you don't need to cook. The ramen noodles, you can put cold water in there. It will just take longer to reconstitute, but it will eventually. So same with the freeze-dried food, you can add cold water. Warm or hot's best for any of that stuff, but it doesn't have to be. So, but even noodles, really. Even noodles, you can just put water in it and let them sit for a really long time. They will eventually soften up. Most things you don't really need to heat up. But if you feel like that's an essential for you, have some kind of stove with your pack. So there's a couple different ones. This is a butane one. So you need the butane gas. And it just opens up. The stove's in there. Mine's even in the packaging because never used it, which is good. I haven't had an emergency where I needed to use it. So yay. Anyways, there's something like that. Or there's something like this, a portable stainless steel stove. And this is like a backpacking stove, kind of. So this is kind of cool. I'm not necessarily going to set it up for you, but you can set it up. It has a few different pieces, so you can make a fire in there and cook with wood, or you can have pure alcohol and you can pour it in there and you can cook like a gas stove, and then you can put a pot on top of it to cook on. So another thing, if you're going to cook, make sure you have a pot to put it in. You can cook in aluminum cans, but it's not the best situation. So a couple side notes for food: be wise about what you choose. A couple non-cooking ideas I had was like beef jerky. Oh man, beef jerky's good, it lasts a long time, and you can eat it for any meal. So those are some ideas of what you can pack for food for 3 days only. Remember, this is only 3 days. This isn't for 3 weeks or 3 months or 3 years. This is only 3 days worth of food. And you can survive off of less than this for sure, but I like to add in some candies and treats and stuff like that to make the experience just a little bit better, because if you're going to be using these bags, it's going to be a stressful situation probably, and probably not so much fun. So this food is one way that humans definitely indulge to comfort themselves. So I'm going to pack these 3, and those are going to be my 3 meals in this bag. So like this, I can eat this breakfast, lunch, and dinner too. I can just eat it dry, drink some water, my freeze-dried food. So I'm going to choose 2 ramen packs and a freeze-dried food, or maybe I'll mix them up. I'm an adult, I can do what I want. And do like 2 ramens a day and just have like this for dinner over 3 days, which is way more, it's about 3 days worth of food in that. So let's put that in my bag. I want to try to fit as much in here as I can. So my goal is to fit everything except for my tent and my water and my shoes, because I'm going to be wearing those. So, in order to do that, I noticed I was a little big. So if your bag is full, then take the packaging out. I took my medicine out because I hadn't unpackaged that yet, and I just took the packaging off of that, and that's all I did. So everything else is in here like I showed you before I got the food out. Got 1 meal, 1 day in there, 2 days in there. Now, I did throw a couple extra things in here that you don't necessarily need, like toothbrush and toothpaste. You don't have to have that. If it doesn't fit, don't pack it. You don't need it to live. It's just a comfort thing. The books and game. If it doesn't fit, don't pack it. Don't put it in your 72-hour kit. That's an extra fun thing you don't really need. Food, you need. Water, you need. Mask, you semi-need. It's really good. It takes not very much room. Food, water, shelter, air. Those are the main things you need. Everything else is kind of extra fun, make you feel better stuff, right? But there it is. There's my bag. And also I was thinking, I did not have any underwear in here. I didn't want to show you underwear on YouTube. So, because that's the type of person I am. So I will add that in also. And just one pair, and it's just going to be stuffed in a corner. Remember, this is not a vacation bag. This is not survival for everything bag. This is a 72-hour kit. This is some of the bare essentials that you're going to need if you have an emergency in your home, if you need to go to a friend's house, if you need to go to a shelter or something like that temporarily. This is what you'll need in home, out of home for just 3 days. So keep that in mind as you're packing this. It doesn't need to fit everything. It just needs to be the essentials. Got your bag, water, and your tent. That is my 72-hour kit and what I put in it, along with a couple other extra things, just kind of for the fun of it. I'm going to put a list of everything that is in here down below, so check that out in the description. Thank you for watching this video with me. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, please give it a like and subscribe down below, and we can see you next time, and give me any comments or questions that you might have. We'll talk to you later. This is a silver piece of aluminized non-stretch polyester. Silvery reflecting material that retains body heat. I've actually never read that before.